Gujarat Titans won their debut season and they finished runners-up in their second outing. But this season, though, they seem to be like a pale shadow of themselves. Now, they lost to Delhi last night after having scored only 89, and they now place 7th on the points table with 4 losses in 7 games. So, Ayaz, how do you explain this run?
Well, I mean, look, they've had their problems, isn't it? They've had a change in captaincy. Hardik Pandya was such a strong influence for Gujarat Titans in the previous 2 seasons as a player, as a captain. So they're obviously missing his all-round abilities, and obviously they're missing his, the same bunch of players, more or less, were playing under his captaincy. So there's a shift in leadership, and it's fallen, the mantle has fallen on young Shubman Gill. So he's trying to find his way through where the captaincy is concerned. He's been in decent form with the bat. And then I think more significantly or equally significantly, they're missing Mohammad Shami, who was their spearhead for 2 seasons. And he's taken a bag full of wickets in each season. He's not there. So it's making a big dent. I also think, Anirudh, that Rashid Khan, he's had his wonderful moments in the matches that he's played so far. But emerging from a very, an injury and a surgery, perhaps just a shade below his best as a bowler. So his influence in the team is strong, but he's not running through, or getting those 2-3 wickets in 2 overs or 3 overs that could make such a big difference.
Yeah. So a few episodes ago, we talked about Sunil Narine with the bat, and I wondered whether this would go on for long. And clearly, he's in no mood to stop, as we saw from that century against Rajasthan. But my question is, you would expect the teams who have figured him out or have been prepared for this. But having seen his matches this season, do you think he's doing anything different?
I think he's a little more in control of his bowling. I see so much for a player like Sunil Narine, so much of it depends on how much in rhythm he is, what confidence he enjoys of the captain and perhaps even the coach. As a batsman and as a bowler, I mean, in this season, he's actually become a marvel as an opening batsman. But if you look at the previous 2 seasons, he was struggling as a batsman. So, he's become a match-winning batsman. He's always been consistent as a bowler. He's had his off days. But I think that, he's one of the few mystery bowlers to have survived for so long. If you look at the history of cricket, Sunil Narine, there are so many of them who kind of made an impact for a season or two and then faded away. Not so Sunil Narine for West Indies or for T20 leagues, wherever he plays in the world. He's been a very strong influence with his bowling. And the only other guy I can think of who's come back as a mystery bowler who kind of made an immediate impact and faded away and has come back is Kuldeep Yadav. So, so I think Sunil Narine, in my opinion, as things stand today, is IPL 2024's MVP, the most valuable player. With the bat, with the ball. And there's a clamour now in the West Indies, as we know, to get him back into the team for the T20 World Cup. So let's see where that is headed.
Yeah. So Narine got his century, but then Josh Buttler answered with a better one to take his team over the line. So now Rajasthan are table toppers. They've lost just 1 game. And even if we put that points table aside, it's quite clear that they're the most impressive team in this season. So why is that?
I think it's the balance, the kind of depth they've got. There's a lot of energy because there are a lot of young players like Riyan Parag, Sanju Samson, Yashasvi Jaiswal, and so on. Yuzvendra Chahal coming into his own. Look at it. I mean, if you look at all the the bowling figures of this season so far, in the top 10, he's the only spinner. In fact, he's the leading wicket taker. So he's making a big bid, a strong bid for a comeback. But I think they've also got Trent Bolt. They've got Avesh Khan who's been bowling reasonably well or consistently, and then they've got some fantastic batsmen. Josh Buttler, the previous season, including in there were some stories that maybe he's too jaded. He's just not, he's not delivering what was expected of him. But he's announced himself in this season 2 centuries, both of them absolutely marvelous, kind of affirming his position as perhaps the best T20 batsman in the world.
Yeah. And so from the top of the table, we now go to the bottom. RCB have lost 6 out of 7 games, and it's pretty likely that they won't make the playoffs yet again. So at some point, you do feel for the team, and more so for their fans, their loyal fans who were buoyed by the success of the women's team. But sadly, it seems like it's gone wrong for them again. So my question, Ayaz, is that what is that franchise continuing to do wrong?
I think that clearly their selection policy has been wrong. Not in the playing 11 necessarily, because that's a consequence of who you got in the squad. Your playing 11 is determined by that. So I think, I mean, letting go of guys like Yuzvendra Chahal and Hasaranga, maybe kind of the thinking may have been that in the Chinnaswamy, where you play all your home matches, the ground is small and the spinners will get tonked all over. But that's proved to be wrong because Chahal and Hasaranga were reasonably effective. In fact, Chahal for many years was very effective as a spinner for RCB, and their fast bowlers haven't really delivered, including Mohammad Siraj and some of the others. I think the biggest disappointment has been the kind of non-performance of the overseas players. Faf du Plessis apart, who's not matched Virat Kohli run for run, but at least he's been reasonably consistent. But not so Cameron Green, of whom so much was expected because he's a fine all-rounder otherwise. But none of his big hitting prowess, nor his 4 overs for a decent number of runs, picking up a wicket or two, is not happening. And the biggest disappointment of all, Glenn Maxwell, he's actually kind of taken his goodbye to IPL 2024. So everything seems to have fallen apart, barring Virat Kohli, who seems to be getting the runs, and the strike rate may not measure up to what Dinesh Karthik is doing. I mean, Dinesh Karthik is the other guy who's been doing wonderfully well for his team. But there's only Virat Kohli at the top, and towards the end, at the finish, there's Dinesh Karthik, and very little in between.
Yeah. So we're almost at that midway stage of the tournament now, and it's clearer who is going to make the playoffs, and we can't say anything. It's still a bit of a muddle in the middle. But that's it for this episode of Sports Room. We'll see you next time.